All right. So thanks everyone for joining. I wanted to touch base pretty quickly because there were a couple of or more than a couple like very different approaches to model switching. And so I wanted to sync and kind of get on the same page. I think to start with, there have been like several problems that maybe we can solve all at once, or maybe there are different problems. One of them is availability and being able to have a fallback plan when something goes wrong with a provider. Another one is just switching because we want to move from one model to another without it being related to availability. And then there's a third requirement that I only found out recently, which is that some customers are asking for the ability to, I don't know if to say dynamically, but basically route models based on code owners, group permissions, all that kind of stuff. So I guess the first question is, and I guess especially for you, Igor, because in the custom model teams you've been thinking about this, have you settled if this should be a single mechanism or one specific mechanism for all these three requirements?
Yeah, when I was writing the comment, what I had in mind that it would be cool to iterate toward the solution that could solve like all the problems that we have here. For example, we could switch the model for availability, or for example, if we want to use another model, and also maybe if we could have the router general enough, we could configure it to route the prompts based on some other condition. For example, some security or privacy. For example, some customers want to route some requests to third-party services, and for example, some requests with some prompts with sensitive information to some private models. So I thought that maybe if we could configure the router, that would eventually, not like in the first iteration, that would be cool. And so my suggestion was iterating toward that approach. So.
And go ahead.
But I agree that there's a lot to discuss here, so maybe we can discuss the simplest approach first.
Okay, so that's kind of good to hear, at least that there isn't like a deal breaker in that there's some incompatibility with this. So so I put in the agenda that we can do this on staging. So this is the part. So stage one would be, we just have a setting, and we kind of already have this in the AI gateway, which is that you get a specific prompt from the prompt registry, recently renamed prompt registry. And so the idea would be to be able to quickly switch between them. And so I'll share my screen real quick just to speak in more concrete terms. So we have this hard-coded currently in the AI gateway code, where we just say chat react. And currently, if we wanted to switch from this, which is the base, this is the one that's called base.yaml. If we wanted to switch from that one to the vertex one, we will have to do this and then do a new AI gateway deployment through runway. And so what I noticed was that
maybe a quick question about this one. So we switching the model here or the prompt here just to use like a separate prompt for a separate like provider, right? For the Anthropic on Vertex, right? So
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, I wonder if it's necessary, yeah? Maybe do we have like proof that we need like two separate prompts for Anthropic API and Anthropic on Vertex? Do you think
Yeah,
it's necessary or yeah?
That is a good question. So if we look at the base, wait, let me put this here. If we look at the base one and the React one, sorry, the base one and the Vertex one, they're exactly the same, completely the same. They're a copy. The only thing different is a provider. So, I don't think this has to be the case. So one thing that we could do here is use Jinja templating and have a base template and import them here. And so you will have just you will replace all of this with a Jinja include of the template. I think that would be a solution. We should still have the ability to make slight changes between providers, because maybe one provider responds better to a specific way of providing the instructions. But yes, you're right that this could use some decoupling. Gosha, you have a point?
Yeah, so I think that for Anthropic versus Anthropic on Vertex, which is like also Anthropic, the same prompt would work. For more complicated prompts and for like different providers, like completely different providers, I would definitely would not assume that the same prompt will work for one feature with different providers. I would start with assuming that this won't work. Like, especially like if the prompt is easy, probably it will work. If the prompt is anything more complicated, then there are differences. Specifically, there are differences of how providers, like what are providers like sensible for in terms of data structure. For example, we know that Anthropic works very well with XML. And that's why we for example, we're not using JSON serialization data, we use XML serialization data because we know that Anthropic just works better with XML. And I don't know if this is true for OpenAI, for any other providers. So in terms of like, for example, when switching from one model to other, I would assume let's start with what we have and then see if we need to adjust. But with different providers, I would definitely not assume that my prompt for Anthropic will work for, I don't know, Gemini or ChatGPT.
Yeah, and
definitely makes sense. Or just a quick note, yes. So maybe let's agree that using the same prompt between different providers, but the same model is fine. Using the same prompt between different models is not so fine. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like for example, for between like I know Opus in Anthropic and Sonnet in Anthropic, I would try the same prompt and see if it works. But definitely for different providers, yeah, I would definitely not assume that.
yeah, no, that's a good point. And I think like one thing that I'm thinking now is that we want to like the final objective of this is to be able to have two or maybe even three providers that we trust, but we will have to like develop some better ways to validate that, because like currently we know things work or done in production, right? Like if we notice a high error rate or something, but if we are only if we're in the middle of an incident, like how do we know that we can trust that we can fail over to these other models? So that's something that we need a better process for, I think.
Yeah, I agree that in terms like when there's an incident that is like from our third-party provider, like switching, for example, to different model from the same provider may be also not a point, maybe not be a solution, because what if they have like, model like outage for like their whole infrastructure, right? Also like, and for Anthropic we have this alternative with Anthropic on Vertex, right? But that's also like not like, and I agree that we can try to switch when there is a problem, but what if we have different different providers for other features? Like if you use Vertex, there's no alternative.
Yeah. So that's a. I don't think I have a for that.
But at the same time, yeah, for example, if we use in Vertex, I think we should maybe think about features rather than models. Yeah, for example, we use Vertex for code completion. So we should think which other model we can use for code completion. Because, for example, in custom models, we provide like prompts, provide support for other features, yeah. And so, for example, if we have a question to which model we should switch the code completion, which doesn't work because Vertex for some reason doesn't work, we see the list of prompts or models that we support for code completion, something like this. And maybe just a quick point about different prompts here for different features. Yeah, we currently we're introducing this prompt registry mechanism. Yeah, which provide the ability to conveniently define multiple prompts, but not all prompts are migrated. Yeah, so not all features are currently using this prompt registry. Yeah, so it's a bit different question. Yeah, but I wonder if we should just provide this model switching mechanism for prompt registry only, and then just wait until all the prompts are migrated. So all other features start supporting this model switching mechanism, if it makes sense. So we don't have to implement model switching for all other features across AI Gateway. What do you think?
I think that makes sense, because also this could be a great incentive for moving features to prompt registry. So I think that makes sense. But to set that, I know that you, Igor, moved one of the prompts related to chat to prompt registry. Do I remember correctly?
Yeah, it was as an example, and currently we actually work on moving all other tools, Duo chat tools, to AI Gateway.
So I think that what would be great is creating a first MR to move any other feature, not chat related feature, to AI Gateway, to have example MR on both sides, so we can say to teams this is your blueprint, this is your example. Otherwise, they will come with 100 questions. So I think that would be great.
That's actually the plan. Yeah, for example, we started from code suggestions. Yeah, we migrated code suggestions for custom models. Yeah, but currently code creation team also working on migrating the AI vendor models. Yeah, and currently we're working on Duo chat tools. But I believe Alejandro also had an example for general feature, yeah, like generate issue description. Yeah, there's already an example of moving such a feature. So I believe it will be next step. Yeah,
that would be great. That would be help a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, then I'm glad that we agree on this part. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of skip around a little bit here in that we're still talking about stage one, which is just manually switching. But I was thinking for this interface, so I'm gonna share my screen again. And this is the other point, which is that the custom model team has added an interface to the admin area. And by the way, this GDK is patched because usually this wouldn't show up unless you have self-hosted models enabled. But I wanted to just enable it because, like, my idea is that they have Igor, you have this interface for each thing. I don't know where this list is coming from, but that's a more technical detail. But like, you can then say that so I haven't looked at this, but I'm assuming AI vendor is just whatever the AI gateway is using, right? And then if you choose self-hosted models, then here you have a drop down of all the custom things that you can use.
Yeah.
So like my idea was, let's have a drop down here as well, and then have different options for models that the AI gateway may provide, and that would be like our interface to add this. And like one difference, because I had proposed something similar in the past, but it was like based on admin settings. So like we will have to add a bunch of columns to the settings tables, once per each feature. Whereas this is backed up in the database, right? This is like a specific database table that sets this, right?
Yeah. There's a separate like option which is called self-hosted models. Yes. So the process is a customer goes to self-hosted models page and configures a model, and then goes to the features page and configures a model per feature. Yeah. For example, some model for code suggestions. I have no idea what happened. So one model for code suggestions, one model for the chat. So just a quick note about AI vendor. So this page is designed for self-hosted models that deploy their own AI gateway. Yes. So here, self-hosted model option, if it's configured, the feature will use a self-hosted model to back up a feature, and AI vendor it will send if AI vendor is selected, it will send the request to Cloud Connector. Yeah, and but it's currently not implemented, but it's definitely the plan. So a quick note about it is that if we provide this interface on GitLab.com, then I would say maybe we should treat the AI gateway and the cloud and AI vendor models there as self-hosted model for GitLab.com, because like GitLab uses those models and it's as if they host them themselves. So I'm sorry for the confusion, but Gus, you have a question?
Yeah, just because I think you said it, I think you answered my question, but I just want to make sure that I understand. So if self-managed customer has self-hosted models, they can pick. So for example, for Duo Chat, they are going with AI vendor, and AI vendor means our AI gateway.
Yeah.
So the GitLab hosted AI gateway, like the one, the cloud, yes. And if they pick self-hosted models, that means they are using their own AI gateway.
Yes.
And they can use both. So for example, they can use ours by GitLab's AI gateway, for example, for Duo Chat, but they can use their own AI gateway, for example, for resolve vulnerability, which is not a chat-related feature.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the idea.
Okay. So having drop down in AI vendor is probably not what because AI vendor is like hosted by us, so we probably need to do this on on our side.
So maybe I should mention that we also, for example, have the plans, to be able to specify, to configure in self-hosted models, cloud-based models. Yeah, for example, a customer can configure, for example, Mistral Cloud, and then select it and specify, for example, API key, and then select it for some feature. So maybe it's something that GitLab could like dogfood. Yeah, we treat it as if we configured Anthropic model and then chose it for some feature. Yeah.
Okay,
So in this case, yeah.
So yeah, like basically like what we'll be doing is because right now there is like a lot of checks. I was looking into the code where this interface with this admin interface is not enabled, is deliberately not enabled on GitLab.com. Like basically we will just remove all those restrictions, make it available for GitLab.com, and then instead of what I was saying, which is having a drop down in the AI, what is it called? AI vendor. We just add our models to self-hosted models and switch that way, right?
Yes, that would be great to eventually have it. Just because it would be cool to reuse this interface, yeah, and not introduce a new one. So yeah, if we want to configure the model switching using UI, it makes sense to reuse this interface. Also, you mentioned the blockers, yeah, for displaying it in UI UX. There's also limitation. AI Gateway currently doesn't respond back with GitLab.com instance. Yeah, as far as I know, like a GitLab instance can talk to AI Gateway, but AI Gateway cannot talk to GitLab instance. And we probably want it. Yeah, we want to expose the model information via API endpoints, and then AI Gateway just talks to GitLab instance and specifies and uses the correct model. So this one is probably also that should be done. But at the same time, maybe we can discuss stage 0, yeah, and probably go with the most simplest solution. Yeah, we could provide the configuration on AI Gateway side, yeah, as was discussed in the issue. It could be like either environment variable or maybe environment variable. So I believe it's a step in the right direction. Yeah, if we implement it using the configuration, we implemented it on AI Gateway, and then we could like gradually replace it by UI UX configuration. So, and maybe by that time we will have UI UX ready and generally available. What do you think?
I would even propose like phase 0 alpha, which is like have good monitoring of error from like third-party providers, because right now we are usually like informed by people saying, oh, chat is not working, oh, something is not working for me, and then we start to like investigate logs, and then we say like, oh, this is Anthropic, is not returning anything or something. So I think that would be like first thing we actually need to do, and then we can think about model switching, because without it we won't even know. And we need this monitoring for all the other phases as well. So
yeah, and also at the same time, when I thought about like environment variable, yeah, and model switching, I was also thinking about how could we test it actually, yeah, because we could test it on some test environment, yeah, but when, for example, we have an incident and we finally want to switch the model, we actually like switch the model and pray that it works, right? So this is why I proposed that router configuration, that it would be cool to route some percentage of the traffic to one model, some percentage to another one. But yeah, it's a bit more complicated than just having an environment variable. And finally, eventually, we may want to configure router in UI UX anyway. So maybe, yeah, we could, yeah, go with the
Also,
environment
like with
variable first.
Also, with like rerouting part of the traffic, for example, for GitLab.com from like to one model and part to the other model, that's not great experience for our clients, because, for example, what if, you know, one model is just better, like, I know Sonnet is better than Opus, right? Like we know that there are like benchmarks saying like Sonnet is just better. So rerouting part of the traffic to older models, for example, like that's providing our customers with worse experience. Not even saying that like this will make debugging hell, because what if someone is like, oh, I don't know, for one, my customer issue summarization is not working properly, and now we are looking if they are using the like older model. Like that's not great, and we proud ourselves with like being able to serve our customers with like cutting edge solutions, like the best models there are. So we also cannot we cannot compromise on that, right?
Yeah. So I think we should mostly think about like different providers, like the same model, but different providers, because maybe we can even exclude the option of using some other model, but the same provider, because if, for example, some Anthropic model doesn't work, it's likely that all other models doesn't work as well, because it's like a server issue. So yeah,
Exactly.
like different providers, yeah, but the same model, yeah.
But this is only
Makes sense.
accessible for Anthropic at this moment. Like, for example, if we would be using OpenAI, like hypothetically, like they have one API, right? I don't know if they have alternative APIs.
I think you can access OpenAI also through Bedrock, and I will assume through Vertex.
Okay. So I might be wrong. That's fine. But like we should like understand what are the like actual limitations. Because I think Vertex is not accessible anywhere else.
Yeah, I think that's a
so
problem mainly with Vertex model, but Anthropic and OpenAI, I think, are in various providers. Sorry, Igor, I cut you off.
No, actually, yeah, this is what I wanted to mention. Yeah, that for example, this percentage of the traffic router. Yeah, I was mostly talking about the like how to test it, and for example, how to be sure that it actually works. Yeah, that some other model, our fallback model, that it's actually like works. Yeah, if we switch to it, it will like enable the features rather than disable them. So, but at the same time, yeah, this model configuration is a step in the direction. So maybe we should focus on model switching first and see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds good to me. We are at time, but I think we have a good path forward of our stage one. We can discuss stage 2 and 3 at a later time, but I think we know for stage 1 we want to be able to reuse this custom models interface, but our stage 0 will be a more basic approach that we can implement as soon as possible. So I'll put all this on an issue. This might be good to promote to an epic, and we can start working from there.
All right, sounds good. Excellent stuff. I'll just take, because Sean was inquiring about it, Igor, I'll just take a summary of what we've discussed here and surface that back to Sean, if that's all right.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.